or American Express. I'm just going to wait for the big one. No. Do you know any of the brands that you read for today? Have you ever seen them anywhere? You want to know why? Because there's no commercials for them. Right? So when you're looking in the grocery stores, look for the tag that says new. Turn the box over, look for the 1-800 number. Go home at night and start writing your own commercial. That's how you get the next job. Okay? Always think creative. What can I bring? Last but not least, I'm going to share something with you for the theater world and for those who really, really want to pursue the theater game. And this is something that I wish somebody would have shared with me. Baby, you want some water? That's my sister, y'all, so I stopped life and death for her. You okay? Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you.
What I wish someone would have told me was, the theory is called, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? When I come to you needing a job, that means my hand is what? Empty, right? So wherever you go in life, you always should have something in your hand to offer. When I didn't have money at the North Carolina School of the Arts my last term, I didn't have enough money to stay on the meal plan. Or I would have had to take out a loan and all that, and I didn't want to do any more of that. So I went to our cafeteria and I said, you know what? I'll clean up the tables at night. I'll stack the chairs just for a meal, just so I can have my dinner and my lunch here if possible. And they said, sure. So every night I cleaned the tables and I stacked the chairs, and that's how I survived for the last 3 months at the School of the Arts. Because I came to them with what? Something in my hand. I didn't come to them and say, I need a meal, y'all. Y'all, I'm hungry. I need some food. Y'all got some soup or something? Could y'all just give me a bagel or something? I never did that. I walked in with something in my hand. Good case in point. One of my dear friends who really pursued his career in theater. He knew theater was in his soul. He knew it was something he wanted to do when he was at the School of the Arts as well. What he decided was, you know what, I'm going to keep this thing going with theater. But he realized the only progress he was making was lateral. He couldn't get higher, so he would do black box theater. He would do small venues. He would do some regional work that would help pay the rent. But again, you want to go to the tier of off-Broadway and Broadway so you can make the real money, right? One day, this is not a real playbill, but you'll get the idea. One day, I went to see him at a fairly reputable theater. And I remember saying, oh, I'm so glad Mark got in the show. That's so fantastic. And I remember looking at the back, and I said, oh, because I always read everything on a playbill. And I encourage all artists to do that. So you know who's who sponsors, and all that sort of thing. And I noticed on the back of the playbill, it said, okay, these are the factors of the theater, the sponsors, and the patrons. And as I was reading, I read all the way down to the patrons. And the patrons give about $35 for the year to support the theater, to keep the theater running. And I remember saying, here's Mark's name. Not the same Mark? Okay. So I went to another show about a year later, and this is a much more reputable theater. It's like Playwrights Horizons, which is basically off-Broadway, but they bring some of the best theater to New York. Look at the bottom of the playbill again. Well, this is interesting. Here's Mark's name. He's a patron of this theater too. It was about 4 theaters that I noticed he was a patron of, that he happened to also be in the show. What does that say? What that says is, he took the time to say, you know what, I want to pursue theater. I want to go further in theater. Thank you. I want to go further in theater, and I need to have a reason for them to call me in. Because if not, I'm just another actor. So you know what I'll do? I'll put something in my hand. I'll pay my $35. And then I'll write them a little letter and says, hi, I'd like to read for August Wilson's Jitney, and I'm also a patron of your theater. Does that make sense? So they started calling him in. And I stand before you to tell you now he's currently on Broadway. Okay? What's in your hand? I don't care where you go in life, what's in your hand? Never ask anyone for anything without thinking, what's in my hand? Even if it's a $5 Frappuccino, Another good case in point about that, my mentor in New York is Stephen McKinley Henderson. How many people know who he is? Stephen McKinley Henderson was the one who played opposite in Fences on the Broadway version and the movie. That's Stephen McKinley Henderson. He played, I think it's Bono or Bobo or something like that. I get the role mixed up. How he became my mentor, I took him out to lunch. Yeah. I paid a nice little $45 to take him to lunch. Now, he came. We sat and we talked. We had a lot in common. He also went to the School of the Arts. We had that in common. I had done my research, so I would know what to talk to him about. And I said, you know, I really need a mentor. I need someone I need to run things by. He said, oh, absolutely, I would love to. Why? I came with something in my hand. Right? So always go with something in your hand. Gonna wrap this up with a couple of questions. I'm not gonna hold you long. Anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
When, like, say you get messed up on a line or something like that, I know improv would be the best thing to really come and cut with it, but what would be something that you would recommend to do as well?
When you mess up on a line, keep going, number one, and then number two is do it again. Because most of the time they'll direct you to do it again. They'll say, that was a good job, let's see it one more time. Don't ever get in your head about messing up. Just keep going. Just always keep going. Because again, you would think they're looking at what you're saying. Sometimes they're listening to the texture of your voice. Sometimes they're looking and going, you know what, you'd be great as Will Smith's son. You know what, he has a perfect symmetry to be Will Smith's son or J. Cole's stand-in. You know what I'm saying? So don't focus on what you're doing wrong. Always focus on what you're doing good, right? And keeping it true. Next. Yes, you.
Okay, so what would you recommend on, I'm really not a shy person. I really don't know what's going on with me today.
That's okay.
But,
That's okay.
What would you recommend if I ever get back into a shy state of just performing or have an audition to do? What would you recommend, like, getting out of my box?
You know, a wise woman said this one time, and I hold this to be true and dear to me. She said, if you ever get intimidated or you feel fearful or nervous or shy about something, she said, before you go into the room, think of every person who's ever loved you. Think about your mother's love, your father, your sister, your brother, and you walk in the room with them, with that feeling of being loved. And it creates a certain level of confidence. So that helps you to shake off the fact that, first and foremost, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I stand here on this stage with Novella Bell Williams, Sandy Williams Jr., John Jr., Mary Brees, Henry Lee Williams. Those are all my mother's side that are currently ancestors to me, but they were all my relatives, my uncles, my grandmother. I stand right here with them. So when people tell me, oh, you have a strong presence, I think, well, it's not mine. It's not my own. I stand with all those people. I walk right in the room with them everywhere I go. So that's what you have to think and keep in mind. You are loved, you are here, you are present, and you have so much love surrounding you, submerged in it, right? Okay, next. Yes, ma'am.
My son, he acts, sings, models.
Okay.
And even on the radio station, I 104.5 every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Nice. Very good.
Agent and manager.
Okay.
What's the best way to go about it?
Agent and manager. Hey, listen, first and foremost, Googling it, starting in a small market, having a mentor, finding someone who's doing what you want to do, and just follow their road. Nothing is new under the sun anymore. So if you want to be the next J. Cole, or you want to be the next Jay McCrae, you find them. And you say, can I shadow you? You know, you like Frappuccinos, right? Let's go for a Frappuccino, $5. It's on me. I just want to talk to you